Hey everybody, it's Sarah and it's Saturday, and I like this week's topic a lot because it's about something that I can't really recall ever talking about, or even talking about anything very similar to it. It's about patience, and a lot of us don't do patience well. I think patience itself goes against, the anatomy and the physiology of the human body. And like with technology, it's just gotten worse. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But I tell people, if they want to learn humility and they want to learn how to make mistakes and be okay with it, to go to university. And if they want to learn patience to recover from an eating disorder or an addiction or, depression, anxiety, or anything like that. Because truly that's where, if I have any patience, which I'm still really bad at, it's because I learned it in recovery. And not to sound like overly cocky or anything, but when I started recovery, I was not used to failing. Everything had come easy to me, academically, athletically. I never connected enough with people to have, challenges in regards of social relationships and that kind of thing. Basically, I hadn't yet learned how to fail. And my eating disorder taught me that a lot, and in accepting that I can fail, and that I am going to fail at some things sometimes, I learned patience, and I learned to be kind to myself, or at least sort of tolerant and forgiving of myself. This recovery thing, it is a process, it's not an event, it doesn't happen instantly. The average person will take 7 to 10 years to recover from an eating disorder, and in that case, I'm right on target, and that's really, really important to remember, and just remembering that things take time, and being okay with that. And it's not that I learned to do that because I had the choice, it's that I got forced into doing that, because when I started recovery, I was destined to fail initially, and it can be really, really difficult to deal with that, obviously. And it was so frustrating. I would go to one therapist, or one set, like, because in Canada we don't have complete, full, comprehensive programs. We have, like, sort of specialty programs. So especially in the States, you can go to, like, a treatment center and you can get every single thing that you need. That doesn't happen here in the United States, or in Canada. We have, like, an eating disorder program, we have a DBT program, and they're all separate. Depression, anxiety program, and addictions, like, you can't deal with the same thing, or with all the things at once. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, but that's the way it works here. And basically, I would find that I would get juggled. So once I had achieved enough, or quote-unquote enough, in my eating disorder treatment to remain sort of medically stable, I was tossed off to another therapist to try and deal with things like self-harm and the borderline tendencies that I, can be prone to. And then once I was done that, I was juggled back to the eating disorder clinic because I still had an eating disorder, and then I was juggled back out for the PTSD and it's just like, and that was so frustrating. And initially when we thought of the topic, like the hosts on this channel thought of the topic, we were thinking a bit about plateaus, and I don't know if that's what they mean, in terms of, like, you reach a certain point in your recovery and you have, like, a sort of crossroads, but you don't want to choose. You're forced to choose. And being patient in terms of seeing that through and making sure that it works for you, that's a life skill that most people won't learn until they're, like, 75. And, for that, I'm really quite grateful. But it's definitely been the hardest lesson I've ever had to learn in my life. The other thing too is that we have to remember that one of the things that my therapist told me was really quite helpful is that the climb up the mountain is hard, and the climb down the mountain is just as hard. The only difference is that you know where you're going. And when I think about that, I have a lot of peace for where I'm at. You know, this journey is hard. All of it's hard. It's not going to get easier right away. And it's okay that it's not going to get easier right away. You know, I can still survive it, and as long as I'm on the same side as my body, as long as I'm on the same side as the well part of me, then, you know, we're going to make it. I just don't know when. And that's the other thing, is that when I sought treatment for my eating disorder, I was under the impression that was all I was seeking my treatment for. I was not interested in stopping either self-injury, compulsive exercise, or basically any of the dysfunctional crap in my life, except for the eating disorder, because it was stopping me from swimming. And it was patience, and learning patience, that sort of bought me the time and the opportunity and the permission to take the time for the rest of it. Yeah, so patience is hard, definitely, but it's one of those things that always pays off, and I'm glad I'm learning that now, and now that I'm like 50. So kind of a blessing in disguise. Anyway, I'm not really even sure that made very much sense, but hopefully, you know, there's a few thoughts there that spark some kind of response or reaction or whatever, and maybe you feel the same way, maybe you don't, and love to hear from you if you do or if you don't. And yeah, I hope you had a really good week, and I will see you next week.